Last time I did cover this when the first video came out. We talked about it. A lot of people have many opinions. I do want to invite Eamon G to talk about this, to just, give his opinion because he was already in a lawsuit. He was like one of the most famous cases, if not the most famous case up to this point, of someone that creates files for 3D printing, 3D models, and he got sued to the point of complete bankruptcy, and only people saved him. And I interviewed him. He was able to get out of the lawsuit because GW eventually dropped it, but not before he paid a ton of money, which could totally ruin his life. Could have. And did to a certain extent. Now he is doing other things. He has his own project that he's working on. And if he wants to talk about that, he's welcome to. Here on the stream, we have to schedule something so he can give his opinion on this. But now I'm gonna give you my opinion. So let's see this video and we're going to discuss.
Hello, I'm Francesco Pizzo and this is the second video about my legal battle against Games Workshop. First of all, thank you to all those who donated or shared the kind words of support. Your financial support, comments and emails have been a warm hug in this difficult moment. I take this change to explain that GoFundMe automatically adjusts the initial goal in a smaller milestone. When I created this campaign, I set an initial goal of €100,000 since this would me cover part of the legal fee we have to pay.
That's a lot.
Today, I would like to give you more details. The topic is extremely complex and there are so many different parts to discuss. We are talking about hundreds of pages in legal documents and evidence in the form of images and videos. So I decided to break my story into smaller parts. Let's start from the beginning. In March 2023, I received the first letter from an Italian law firm representing Games Workshop. In this letter, they claiming that we legally used the protected trademarks by using tags. We infringed the copyright on their models. We practiced unfair competition. They asked to remove at least 400 models allegedly violating their copyright, more than half of our catalog at the time, without even providing a full list of such models, nor a corresponding list of Games Workshop models.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right here because we're not gonna be able to go through everything at the end and repeat it 100 times. So if this is all true, so I'm just going to go by if this is so completely true, and I have to take it this way because this is what we know, this is what he says. So if he trusts him completely on what he says, and I don't know why he would have any reason to not be truthful here. This is a legal case, so it's very important to present the exact facts, and he is probably consulting with his lawyer what he can say, and so far the information seems absolutely legit and making total sense because we know how GW could be. Before we knew about this, we also knew from Jarnovich that, of course, GW are trying to sue other content creators for animations. They're trying to sue other people that made miniatures. So they just launched this crusade on different people and different sites for all kinds of different things, actually, if I have to sum it all up. So this totally aligns, that information, with what is happening to GHAMAK here. To me, at least, it seems ridiculous for Warhammer, for GW to require such a thing, to just remove 400 models but not list them, because these guys have models that do look like they not the exact copy, of course, it's not the exact copy, but you can tell immediately that a particular model looks like another particular model that is GW original. You can totally do that. Do they changed some parts of, let's say, gauntlets, weapons, capes, whatever, hoods, chains? Yeah, they totally did, but at least when you look at it from a first glance, some models do look extremely similar. But again, it's very important how similar. if certain ornaments or whatever are exactly the same. This is an issue. I didn't see exactly the same from what at least I saw, but the overall resemblance was very high. But in any case, they have models like that, but they also have models that have nothing to do with anything Games Workshop related. I mean, they don't really look like that. They're very, very different and whatever. So you can't just say, hey, just remove your models. Like, hey, these are still their property. So this claim, at least to me, seems absolutely crazy and outlandish and extremely crossing all kinds of lines. But I mean, we are gonna see exactly what's gonna happen at the end. But that's how it seems. I'm just saying and using the words "it seems." If you're a specialist on these cases, feel free to say here.
Nor an explanation of how any of our models were infringing the copyright. To remove all tags related to protected trademarks. To disclose sensitive data such as revenue, supplies, cost, collaborators, commercial partners. To pay 2,500 euros as a legal cost refund. I was given 7 days to reply or they will take me to court. Because they didn't bother to explain how we were infringing their copyright and on which particular model, I decided to contact an experienced law firm in IP rights. We replied raising doubts about Games Workshop ownership of copyrights on the miniatures, as well as about the subsistence of the requisite for the claiming copyright protection. Novelty, originality, creativity. We will discuss this topic in detail in the next videos. For now, we point your attention on an obvious example. The eagle posted in the description of the GoFundMe fundraiser. In our opinion, that eagle sold by Games Workshop lacks the requisite of novelty, originality and creativity to be granted a protection that would inhibit any other company to create and sell another eagle as long as it's not an exact copy of Games Workshop's one. We also mentioned that the use of tags was descriptive, just to confirm the compatibility of our models with Games Workshop's games. We finally offered to schedule a meeting to better understand their claims and solve the matter amicably. I feel the need to clarify the situation back in 2023 before moving forward with the story. First of all, the use of tags. At the time, almost every company creating agnostic models that could also be used in Games Workshop's games were using tags like Warhammer or Warhammer 40k. We used the tags because in the Chapter House lawsuit, the judge had ruled that the use of protected words was acceptable to express compatibility of a product. This is a similar principle of buying third-party parts compatible with a Ford or a Mercedes. A company is allowed to mention that its part is compatible with that car. Since everyone was using them, we thought it was safe to do so, to express compatibility with their games. This was supposed to be fine as long as we did not sell our products passing for Games Workshop or by implying association with Games Workshop.
Okay, so far everything checks out, seems logical. Yeah, seems fine what he's explaining, so I don't have any objections towards it. Let me know in the comments.
Not that we never used their logos anywhere on our page or ads. We always took great care to use a graphic in our ads that were totally different from Games Workshop ads or products, always showing only our logo in all photos and videos. Additionally, we focused on selling 3D printable files, which Games Workshop does not sell. In other words, we were sure that no one could mistake a GHAMAK model for a Games Workshop model. However, in an attempt to de-escalate the situation, we immediately stopped using tags such as Warhammer or 40k on new listings, while waiting for their reply to remove the pre-existing tags. After our reply, GHAMAK continued to create models without using such tags, and we started to release army books for all models compatible with the one-page rules games, while waiting for a reply. These days, some people commented, "Why didn't you remove the contested models immediately?" Simple. First of all, we had no list. Games Workshop did not tell us which models they wanted us to remove. They just mentioned they were at least 400 models, but pointed a few examples only. And even if we tried to look at which models could have been modified, we had no way to know how far we had to change them to be different enough for them. Despite their initial 7 days deadline, we did not hear from Games Workshop for another full year. When we received a second letter from their lawyers, substantially identical to the first one, again Games Workshop claimed the illegal use of marks and unfair competition and demand the disclosure of sensitive data. However, this time they asked 10,000 euros of legal cost. Again, Games Workshop did not specify which models they wanted us to remove. They just mentioning that they were hundreds, if not thousands. Once again, we replied,
I mean, by that token, anybody can claim anything and ask money from you, and say that you copy them, and without anything being proven at all, just take money from you and like claim stuff. Like, what the heck? This is way over the line, in my opinion. Like it seems crazy the way that he explained it. That's why I need another perspective on this as well. So hopefully I can get M and G soon. But in any case, so far this seems logical. So yeah, but this is typical GW corporate exactly. Haley Cowan. Sorry if I butchered your name. And this seems outrageous, basically.
expressing our doubts in relation to such a request, but still reiterating our willingness to cooperate. Our intention was obviously to receive guidelines to identify the allegedly infringing models and to avoid making models too similar in the future, according to their opinion. We asked to set up a meeting to resolve the matter, but again, no answer. A few months later,
I mean, this is just outrageous. So they just leave it, they forget it, but they come back to it. Like, the people need to do business. You can't leave them hanging like this. You can't just ruin their lives because you decided that something is so damn similar that is illegal now. But again, you have to look at these models. They did make a lot of changes, although when you look at them at first glance, they look very similar, but proportions are not the same. Shapes here and there are not the same. Ornaments are not the same. So that should be different enough for GW to never touch them again. But no, they just push and push. So that's what it really disgusts me.
after failing to have all models removed from my mini factory, they filed a lawsuit not for copyright infringement but for unfair competition. I want to clarify an important point. Infringement of intellectual property rights, trademarks, patents, copyright on the one hand, and unfair competition under the Article 2598 of the Italian Civil Code on the other are two discrete and distinct concepts. Games Workshop is arguing Article 2598 only. The main basis that Games Workshop uses to argue Article 2598 is that the signs, elements, or shapes that GHAMAK uses in its models would immediately identify them as model coming from Games Workshop. GHAMAK disputes this. Our point being that Games Workshop is not able to demonstrate the distinctiveness of their models, as the signs, elements, shapes present in GHAMAK models draw from imaginary universe over which Games Workshop has no exclusive rights. Games Workshop would also have to demonstrate that GHAMAK models are at risk of being confused with those of Games Workshop or of being perceived as coming from Games Workshop. GHAMAK also disputes this. I wrap up this video here. In the next ones I share more details and explain why I believe this case is crucial, not just for GHAMAK but for the entire miniatures industry.
Yeah, and he is totally right. So definitely we're going to check the next video to see more details. Hopefully the guys can fight it. Even if they're not completely right, guys, like he said, this is very important for the whole industry because GW are a monopoly on the miniature world. I mean, there are other companies, but they're the biggest. They have 440k, which is the biggest, most famous, most commercial, most well wildly spread. Yeah, that's what I want to say. And they can press on people however they want. Again, keep in mind that they're already trying to do that. They press creators like myself and others before. Some creators did quit even before they're reached by GW out of fear, which is horrible. Like Jonovic just stopped making content, which I also covered. He just stopped making Warhammer 40k content because of this, because he's scared that he's gonna get sued out of freaking nowhere. Before him, we know very well about Brava Alpha Booster, who stopped because what? Out of fear. He was not actually reached by GW. They didn't say anything to him. He just decided to stop again out of fear. He could, finish the freaking TTS series because what is one more episode? He made so many episodes anyway, but he didn't want to risk it or whatever. I don't think that makes any sense because again, if GW wants to get him for anything, they could get him for absolutely all the episodes if they want, even though this is under the context of parody and something that GW has never made, so it does not resemble any of their stuff. It does go directly under parody, and the lore is not even correct for the most part. It's literally a parody of it. It's funny, it's crazy, and they will never make anything like that because it's not Warhammer 40k, it's not their style. I mean, Warhammer is not a comedy show. Obviously, that's what I mean. Otherwise, it was Warhammer in the heart, of course, but that's not the point. The point is that it's different enough, and I don't think that they would ever go after him. They can go after Bravo Alpha Booza right now because the episodes are there. Even if the episode was just one and it was 2 minutes, but he has hours of that, but they can still go for whatever, so he could really just finish that, but no. So now Jonovic kind of does the same thing. He's like, GW are suing so many people, I'm just gonna quit and do something else. Well, okay, I mean, it's your choice, of course, I understand, but what to tell you guys, this is very unfortunate. So the point is that even if GHAMAK are not completely right in the situation, which you gotta explain me how they're not right, because so far everything looks, really checks out. Even the models that are similar have enough differences to be considered okay. I mean, GW can decide to be, horrible for whatever reason, because that's exactly what they do. They will not lose money over somebody else that are making like 3D printing things anyway, because the people that want to buy 3D printing whatever figures, they will go for that anyway, and the people that don't want to buy GW original product, they will not buy GW original product. Now, I mean, I can't afford their freaking miniatures even if I wanted to. They're double my money in my country, double. So if you pay $100 for custodies or whatever, I will pay $200 for that. For example, I mean, some of you actually gifted me through Amazon a Custody box set. I have two now, which I'm very grateful for. I painted my first Custodies 2 years ago. I have the other box with Sisters of Silence and Custodies. It's super cool. Have to finish that. It's my gray pile of shame. But yeah, the point is that this is the only way that I can afford this. I mean, I still can't. So somebody gives this to me, and I paint it in their honor because they did whatever I could so I can get that. But I will totally always choose a friend that has a 3D printer otherwise for other things. I will never buy from GW. I'm not their clientele. So many other people are not their clientele, but they can afford what GHAMAK sells. So they will never anyway give money to GW, and GW will never anyway lose any money to people that are not willing to buy their stuff in any case. So by that token, I think that this guy is a lot more correct to do whatever he wants. Unfair competition, this seems a bit ridiculous again, because those are two different things. He also sells the 3D printed files, and that's why they don't like him. Also, that's the other reason, because they will never probably sell a 3D printed file. So then, because then you can just print them out and have whatever you want. But again, that's not their decision. Who are they to say you can't print stuff? You know, who are freaking they to say you can't do this, can't do that? They're already $1 billion companies, and they're whales. They're those people that we call whales, or just big fans that will always choose them. And those are the ones that don't care what's happening, don't care about the drama. They just want the miniatures. They want to play with friends and clubs, whatever. So I don't think they're gonna lose these people unless I don't know what else happens. So technically GW, at the end of the day, the bottom line is that they will not lose any money anyway. A lot of people are boycotting them in any case, and they will not continue to play the game whatever happens. They're absolutely solid on that. And this is something that GW did on their own. They lost their own clientele, I mean, entirely by themselves. And of course, they do have higher profits now, which we saw last year with their financial reports, all those things. So some people are joining the universe, and some people are discovering them that don't care what happened or don't know what happened, what GW are doing in their free time, I guess, with people and with the lore and all of those things. So GW are getting more and more successful despite all of the drama, and GHAMAK are not the people that are gonna make a dent in their bottom line. So if they are suing them this way, in such a ridiculous way, all the things that he listed that they didn't reply, then they came back again 1-2 years later with, now we're gonna sue you, yay, not clarifying what's the problem. That should be illegal on its own. So we see what happens, guys. I think power to the people, it's the better choice anyway, and if he wins, this will set a better precedent for such huge companies, for them to not think that they can just do whatever. And if the court rules for in favor of GHAMAK, then I think that the people will win. And what happened with MNG, you know, he managed to get out by the skin of his teeth, and at least that happened. But we need more, wins for the people. At least that is how I am right now. I mean, that's where I stand. But let me know how you think, what you know about these things. If you can maybe put something down in the comments that's a bit more informed from a legal standpoint, I would love to hear it, guys.
Sacred might, their purpose burning crystal bright, to lift the throne world from its plight and guard humanity's light.